shower turned on upstairs, even though no one else was home. Ethan had been lying in bed, the dark pressing in around him, when he first heard it. A soft sputter, then the hiss of water cascading. He froze, listening. The house was silent otherwise. The refrigerator's hum in the kitchen, a distant tick of the hallway clock, the faint groan of the floorboards responding to the night's chill. Everything normal. But the shower running. He told himself it was impossible. He was alone. His apartment had been empty all evening. His roommate wouldn't return until tomorrow. He had locked the doors, checked the windows, locked the doors again. Still, the sound persisted, muffled yet insistent, rising through the ceiling above the bedroom. Ethan swung his legs over the edge of the bed. Cold wood pressed against his ankles. The carpet at the side of the bed felt damp under his fingertips, though he knew he hadn't spilled anything. He stood. The bedroom door creaked faintly, like a whisper of protest. He stepped into the hall, listening. The hallway smelled faintly of soap and mildew, though the shower hadn't been running minutes ago. The light from the bedside lamp stretched thin across the walls, elongating shadows into forms that seemed to sway with his every movement. Ethan's phone buzzed on the nightstand. He glanced at it. No messages, no missed calls, just the glow of the screen reflecting the hallway behind him. And in that reflection, a subtle shift. The bathroom door at the end of the hall was slightly ajar. He was sure it had been closed. "Hello?" His voice sounded small, swallowed by the high ceilings. No answer. The sound of water grew louder, steady, deliberate, not a trickle, not accidental. The flow hit the tiles with a soft, rhythmic pulse, like breathing. Ethan's pulse quickened. He reached the top of the stairs. The air grew warmer, moist. He could hear the steam curling into the hallway, fogging the frame of the bathroom door. The shower head rattled, scattering droplets against the tile in irregular patterns. He hesitated. He knew the house intimately. Every corner, every shadow, every squeak of floorboard was familiar. But something was off. The bathroom light was dim, though it was supposed to be switched off. And the handle of the shower faucet, it was slightly twisted. Not enough to start the water on its own, or so he thought. He reached for the door. The air shifted, pressing against his skin. He touched the knob. Warmth radiated from it. Not heat exactly, more like an awareness. "Ethan?" The sound was soft, almost a hiss. Not his voice. Not human exactly, but familiar enough to make him flinch. He yanked the door open. Steam swirled in the narrow space, curling around the edges of the tub. Water ran in a perfect, circular arc, no hands to guide it. The bathroom tiles gleamed under the ceiling light, though the bulbs had been off. No one. He swallowed. The faucet clicked once, then again, as if it were listening to him. He reached out, testing it. Nothing changed. The water continued, steady, unyielding. He noticed something in the reflection of the mirror. A movement behind him, subtle. The hallway seemed longer than it should, stretching upward into darkness. A shadow at the top of the stairs. Familiar shape, but wrong. Limbs slightly elongated. Head tilting unnaturally. He spun. Empty. His reflection in the mirror remained, except for the faucet. A faint distortion appeared in the glass where the water sprayed. A shape dark, waiting. He blinked. Gone. Ethan stepped back, the wooden floor cold against his feet. He moved toward the hallway, then froze. Something small and deliberate shifted across the carpet. A shadow that mimicked his movement exactly, but a heartbeat late. The shower sputtered once, then roared, hot water spraying beyond the tub, misting the air like smoke. He noticed droplets on the floorboards outside the bathroom door. He hadn't been in the room yet. His heart pounded. The house, familiar and safe, now felt stretched, warped. Hallways seemed to elongate. The ceiling rose slightly. Every familiar landmark, the console table, the framed photos, looked just off, tilted minutely. Not enough to see at first, but enough to unsettle. He grabbed a towel from the closet. The moment his fingers brushed it, a soft thump echoed from upstairs. Not the bathroom above the bathroom. The guest bedroom. Ethan froze. He tried the light switch at the top of the stairs. Nothing. The hallway lamp blinked once and went out. Only the glow from the bathroom illuminated the stairwell, casting long, lean shadows that seemed to climb along the walls with him. Ethan. The voice again. Softer this time. Direct. Close. He froze. No one was home. The temperature shifted suddenly, chilling him to the bone. The air smelled faintly of wet tile and iron. The faucet clicked again. The water sprayed higher. A spray of droplets hit the mirror, forming a pattern he couldn't decipher. But then, as he stepped closer, he noticed that in the reflection, the tiles behind the showerhead didn't match the ones on the wall. Some were elongated, stretched, warped. The room itself changed. He backed up. His reflection in the mirror moved with him, but its eyes, not his. They were darker, deeper, fixed in a calm, knowing stare. He stumbled back, bumping into the hallway wall. Something cold pressed against his hand. Not metal, not wood skin. Smooth, unyielding. He jerked away. Nothing. The shower shut off. Silence. The tiles glistened under the dim ceiling light. The faucet drooled a single droplet. Ethan exhaled slowly, chest heaving. The house seemed to settle. Floorboards sighed. The air no longer felt heavy. He reached for the door to leave the bathroom. The knob turned in his hand easily this time. And then, behind him, a voice, soft and rasping, came from the reflection of the mirror. "Thanks for letting me out." He spun. Empty. The hallway stretched. The ceiling seemed higher. The familiar walls were subtly skewed, leaning just slightly, watching. And the shower upstairs clicked on again. Her dog growled at the corner of the room, fur raised. Lila froze in the hallway, heart skipping a beat. The low rumble came from Max, curled at her feet only moments before, now rigid hackles standing along his spine. His ears swiveled, nose twitching, a deep vibration rolling from his throat. The room was still. The floorboards beneath her socks felt cool and smooth, the familiar creaks absent for once, as if the house itself were holding its breath. A single lamp in the corner cast weak, amber light, pooling unevenly across the polished hardwood. Shadows clung to furniture, stretching long and thin across walls. Yet Max's gaze was fixed, unwavering, on a corner of the room that held nothing but bare wall. "Max, what is it?" Lila whispered. Her voice sounded sharp in the silence, ricocheting off the walls. The dog's growl deepened. His body trembled, tail stiff. His eyes glinted in the lamplight, fixed on the same spot where the wall met the floor. Lila stepped closer, heart hammering, each movement deliberate. She scanned the corner. The walls were white, unmarked, the baseboard polished and intact. Nothing. "Stop it," she said, trying to sound firm, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. Max took a step back, still growling, low and guttural. The air seemed to shift, heavier now, carrying a subtle chill that had nothing to do with the open window she had left cracked earlier. She knelt beside him, laying a hand on his head. "There's nothing there." But Max stiffened even more, snarling, hackles bristled, lips curling. He backed toward her, growl now punctuated with a low whine. Lila's eyes traced the floor, the baseboards, the corner. There was a subtle imperfection, a faint, dark smudge where the wall met the floor. Too thin, too precise, like a shadow that didn't belong. She squinted. The light from the lamp didn't reach it evenly, and yet the darkness there seemed to pull in light around it, making the corner appear slightly recessed, as if the wall itself were curling inward. Her breath hitched. The house felt alive, almost aware. She could hear it then, the soft, near imperceptible hum of the air vent, steady and uniform, masking something else beneath it. A whisper of movement. A scrape against the wood, faint, rhythmic, almost a pulse. "Max," she whispered again, trying to stay calm. "It's just the house." The dog didn't waver. He snapped his head slightly, ears forward, growling now in short bursts, low and insistent. His gaze followed something invisible, his pupils dilated. Lila swallowed. She moved closer to the corner. The temperature shifted suddenly, cooler here, colder than the rest of the room. Her skin prickled, goosebumps rising along her arms. She leaned down to touch the baseboard, fingers brushing the smooth wood. The paint was intact, warm under her skin. Nothing to explain Max's terror. And yet the air above the corner shimmered, subtle, almost imperceptible, as if the light itself were bending slightly around the space. She blinked. The corner seemed to expand, stretch upward. Shadows pooled in ways that made the wall look concave. A creak sounded above her, somewhere in the ceiling. The house's normal settling noises seemed amplified, slower, deliberate. Max stiffened even further, hackles now fully raised, and took a step backward toward the living room, refusing to leave her side. "Who's there?" Lila said aloud, voice louder, brittle. The words felt fragile, swallowed by the quiet. No response. She noticed other subtle shifts. A picture frame on the adjacent wall leaned slightly, though she hadn't touched it. The rug beneath her feet was just a fraction off-center, as though nudged by something heavy, careful. Even the lamp flickered once, casting a thin, slanted shadow toward the corner. Max's growl escalated into a short bark, warning, protective, urgent. Her mind searched for logic. Could it be a draft? Rodents? Her imagination? She glanced at the doorway leading to the hallway. Empty. The windows were closed, locked. The floorboards showed no footprints beyond her own. And still, Max would not leave that corner. Lila tried to step closer. The air thickened. Her breaths felt heavy, as though each inhalation carried weight. She leaned in, fingertips just inches from the wall. The shadows pooled closer, the subtle curvature of the corner deepening. Something imperceptible moved, a shift in the light, a distortion that made the floor look like it sagged slightly toward the wall. Her heart pounded. She could feel her pulse in her temples, each beat echoing in the quiet room. The house felt different now, warped, stretching into spaces it shouldn't occupy. Max barked again, short and sharp. A whisper seemed to emerge from the corner itself, though she couldn't place a voice. Not human, not coherent, but deliberate, urgent, waiting. She took another step back. The shadows in the corner quivered slightly, elongating toward her. She squinted. The baseboard, smooth, clean, now seemed to have depth where there was none. A faint outline, darker than the wall, almost like a slit, appeared at the junction where floor met wall. The dog growled again, low and insistent, pressing closer to her. She realized he wasn't just reacting, he was warning. The air shivered, or perhaps she imagined it. Something moved just out of the corner of her vision. A brief ripple in the lamplight, a stretch of darkness that shouldn't exist. Lila's phone buzzed. She fumbled it from the sofa, checking messages. Nothing. But in the reflection on the polished hardwood, she saw it. A shadow crouched in the corner, lean and human-shaped, but wrong. Too thin. Limbs slightly elongated. Head tilted at an impossible angle, just barely visible behind the darkness. She spun around. The room was empty. Max barked again, frantic now, retreating slightly, pressed against her legs. The corner seemed to pulse faintly, as if aware of her gaze. The air carried a low hum, vibration that ran through the floor, untraceable to any appliance. Her breath came in sharp gasps. Every familiar object in the room now appeared subtly altered. The lamp tilted. The picture frame leaned. Even the rug rippled in a way it hadn't moments ago. The corner waited, watching. She backed toward the hallway, dog close. Every step made the floorboards groan. The corner remained still, or perhaps it moved with her, shifting subtly when she wasn't looking directly at it. Her hands shook. She pressed herself against the wall, heart racing. Max's growl faded into a tense whine, ears flat, body crouched in readiness. She couldn't see it directly. The corner was nothing, but everything told her otherwise. Then, as she slowly exhaled, the shadow moved. Not toward her, not yet. But along the floor, the faintest movement against the baseboard. A low, rasping whisper, near and distant all at once. "Don't leave." Max barked again, teeth bared, and she realized she wasn't meant to move. The corner had claimed space in the room, in her vision, in the air itself. And she knew, with a certainty that chilled her, that the dog wasn't the only one aware. Something else was watching, waiting, patient. The lamp flickered one last time. The room seemed normal again, safe, familiar. Except for the corner. And Max's growl, now quiet, steady, unwilling to leave. Lila didn't sleep that night. The corner waited,